welcome to week 4 of my Real Men segment. I have my Go Hards and Go Softs for you this week. Last week I told you to play Brandon Marshall and he got you a bunch of points, and I told you to not play Lamar Miller and he did not do so well against that Bills defense. So here we go. It's week 4. You have to remember, bye weeks are starting. The Patriots and the Titans are on a bye week, so you're going to be without Tom Brady. You're going to be without Gronkowski, Edelman, and Titans-wise, you're going to be without Delaney Walker. That's why I'm giving you guys a 2-for-1 on tight ends this week. That's right. So my first Go Hard picks, 2-for-1 tight ends, is Eric Ebron and Charles Clay. Let me talk about Eric Ebron first. He is going against Seattle this week, and I know everyone's saying, oh, it's Seattle and they have the best defense in the league. They actually don't have the best defense in the league, by the way, but he has been targeted 5 or more times in each game. I like that number for a tight end. Tight ends typically are not going to get these 10, 12, 15 target games by any means, but a good solid 5 targets is pretty good. The Seahawks have given up the 7th most fantasy points to tight ends, so if their defense is a little bit weak, it's against tight ends that they're not as good. And they've also given up 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion to tight ends so far in the first 3 weeks. Of course, my Bears did not score any points against them. My Bears were just horrible. I thought Martellus Bennett would have had a better week. I think he would have had a better week if Cutler would have been playing. So Eric Ebron is a guy that you have to get in. Stafford's going to be looking for him. Detroit is now 0-3. They're looking for their first win, and they're playing up there in Seattle. It's going to be a tough day for them, but Stafford's going to have to make something happen, and I think Ebron's going to be his guy. Let me move it on to Mr. Charles Clay. I like this guy. I liked him when he was in Miami. He was good for Miami. And he has had a touchdown in each of his last 2 games. So, of course, you like to see your tight ends getting in the end zone because they don't get a lot of targets. And he's starting to do that for the Buffalo Bills. Now, he plays the Giants this week, and the Giants have given up the 2nd most fantasy points to tight ends. So I expect Tyrod Taylor to be looking for Charles Clay, and he's been targeted more in each game progressively. So, hey, I also like to see that number go up as well. He's producing, so I think they're going to look for him more, target him more. And, of course, the Giants right now are the worst passing defense in the league. So this should be a really good opportunity. It looks like LaShawn McCoy may not play this week. Carlos Williams will take over for him. But this is maybe a good opportunity for Tyrod Taylor to get a little bit more going in the passing game and look for him to try to hit up Charles Clay on a lot of those. I will move it on to my second Go Hard pick for this week. And my second Go Hard pick is Joe Flacco. I know, Wacko Flacco. I'm telling you guys to play him. What is going on in my world right now? But yes, I'm telling you to play him only because of his matchup this week. The Ravens are also 0-3. It's started out to be quite a crazy year in the NFL. But this is why I'm telling you to play him. Sometimes you got to look at the stats. In week 2, he passed for 384 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. In week 3, he passed for 362 yards, 2 touchdowns again, and 1 interception. He's going to throw those interceptions. That's going to happen. Trustman is his offensive coordinator. Trustman loves to throw the ball. It's the same thing. Cutler was throwing picks as well, but Cutler was throwing for a lot of yards, and he's at least getting you those touchdowns. Now, he goes against Pittsburgh in the Thursday night game this week, and the Steelers have given up 6 passing touchdowns in the first 2 weeks, so they did not look good. That secondary is young. I thought they would play a lot better the first week against the Patriots, and you all saw how that went. And let me just say this. Kenny Britt had 102 yards against them last week. Kenny Britt, since when have we had a Kenny Britt sighting? Yeah, he went for over 100 yards against him. So if he's a wide receiver that can go for 100 yards, I think there's another guy that can definitely go for 100 yards, and that's the guy Flacco is going to be throwing to, and that is Steve Smith. Steve Smith has balled out the last 2 weeks. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but he's been great. He went for 150 yards in week 2, and he went for 186 yards in week 3. They don't have much going on over there in Ravenland with their wide receivers, so Steve Smith is going to be the guy that Flacco looks to. I just think with this young secondary, he's going to be able to do it, and Trustman is always dialing up the passing plays. So look for him to have a good night in prime time on Thursday Night Football. Let me move it on to my Go Softs. These are the guys that they might not get you as many points this week, so watch out. My first Go Soft for this week is running back Jeremy Hill of the Bengals. This one hurts my heart because I have him in 2 leagues, and trust me, I'm a little scared. I don't know what to do with him. I'm probably going to take him out this week because I don't like his matchup. Let's just talk about the fact that he does not have a 100-yard game yet this season. I don't like that. It's been 3 weeks. Where are you at, Jeremy? I need 100 yards from you, but I don't think it's going to happen this week. They're going up against Kansas City, and the Chiefs have only given up 94 rushing yards per game, so they haven't even given up 100 rushing yards per game, average that is, and they've given up 0 rushing touchdowns. So again, running backs are not getting in the end zone against this Kansas City defense. And let's talk about the fact that Jeremy Hill has had a very rough last 2 weeks. He fumbled twice, of course, and was benched against San Diego. So that did not turn out to be a good game at all. And then he only had 21 yards on 12 attempts versus the Ravens last week. Gio did a lot better than him. It's looking like they're definitely using Gio Bernard 50% of the time, which doesn't help Hill either. And the coaches have also already stated, because Gio's the passing back, that if they are down in the game, they will roll with Gio. So Hill might not be getting as many touches if for some reason the Bengals are losing. Jeremy Hill just isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing this season, and it's not been good so far. I hope he can get it together, but the Chiefs are going to be tough for him. And my second Go Soft this week is wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald. I know you guys are like, Fitz is back. Why are you telling me not to play him? If you got to play him, you got to play him. He is an elite receiver. I understand that. I just don't expect him to be going as crazy as he has been, and that's because they're playing the Rams. The Rams have only allowed 2 receivers so far this season to go for over 50 yards, and that's not very good. And one of those receivers was Antonio Brown, so we know how good Antonio Brown is. I'm not saying Fitz isn't good. He's awesome, but the Rams defense is looking pretty good. The Rams are also tied with the most sacks in the league. Their front is awesome. They have 13 sacks in 3 games. That's pretty insane. That is insane numbers, actually. So I think Carson Palmer and this offense, Carson Palmer is going to be under a lot of pressure, which of course makes it harder to make those passes and get your receivers involved in the games. Another reason why I don't think he might go off is he's had 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, amazing. I know he's been getting you so many points. But do you think the Rams defense and defensive coordinators haven't seen that happening? They've been watching it. So I think that they're going to put guys all over him to not allow him to do that against them. And I think this might be a low-scoring game. This is a tough divisional matchup. It is in Arizona. But I just think these 2 defenses are playing lights out right now this season for the most part. And so I think that this game isn't going to be super high scoring. I think it's going to be a defensive game. And let's also talk about the fact of the first 3 defenses Fitz and company have been against, because I know this offense has looked pretty awesome. But they played against the Saints defense, the Bears defense, and San Francisco's defense. Those are not the best defenses in the league. So it's going to be a little bit tougher this week for him against those Rams. I just don't expect too much. So there you have it. There are my week 4 picks. Of course, go check us out on our social media, bigballsfantasyfootball.com, and get our app so that you can get everything. The app is just amazing. So you just have to go get it. It's free. And that wraps up our show for tonight. Have a great evening.